All right, guys, day 2 here at Hugh's Detailing. We got here about a few hours ago. The guys were actually finishing up the PPF in the front with some of the small details, the black accents, the mirrors. So right now we're gonna be doing the rest of the car. And what they're gonna be doing actually is gonna be polishing the rest of the car. We're talking about everything back because they did the front already just to get the car PPF based on their time schedule, retinted the windows on the car, and after they fully polish the car, which probably only needs a stage 1 paint correction because this car was actually taken care of pretty well from the previous owner. After that, they're gonna be using some Odessa ceramic coating. And then the last step for this would be coating the windows and additionally to getting the ceramic coating to cure with the infrared heat lamps. So that's gonna help push out a lot of the chemicals that needs to be solidified before it becomes fully hardened, because ceramic coating is a glass coating, so there is a thin layer of glass being applied onto the car. But this is a different episode for you guys, I know, or it might be included to the same episode, but I do want to reiterate that a lot of things have been done. Again, there was a small dent on this pillar that was taken out by their team here, and the front end was PPF'd like you guys saw in the other video. So it's definitely a little bit different, but I just want to take you guys along so you guys can either learn or just enjoy the process of them getting this car completely dialed in. And we also went with a higher end tier window film. We went with Lumar's, I think, Air film on the front, and then Stratos on the sides. But again, what they were telling us earlier, that film is gonna give us more of a heat rejection. There's a whole vlog about that, definitely check that out. There's a lot of knowledge being split into that video. But in this video, we're gonna be talking about getting the car all fully polished. And like you guys saw earlier, there's very minor hairline scratches throughout, but we'll see more underneath the lights. I know the lighting here is pretty decent, but can't wait to take this on the road and get back home and let my wife enjoy this. But some of the cool cars they have here, I was looking at this Mini Cooper. See, like the older Mini Coopers like this was so much better than the new ones that are coming out. But this is beautifully preserved. I'm sure that Brandon and his team are gonna be getting this car either protected or just detailed, but this is really awesome to see. You probably see these cars are like Cars and Coffee, or if there's a Mini Cooper meet, but you rarely see these on the roads these days. And then you have Brandon's E36 M3. I believe this is Hellrod red with the HREs, which kind of gives it the old BMW look to it. This car you might have seen at the Invasion of West Palm Beach. He definitely brought this over there. He doesn't drive this as often. This is pretty much a garage queen. And then you have your clients' cars, Porsches, the Porsche here. So again, enjoy the B-roll, and I'll give you guys some more knowledge as we get this car completely finished. So there's a lot of things going on right now. We have the team over here that are about to remove the wheels off the X7. They're gonna do a deeper clean with the wheels, and then they're gonna ceramic coat the wheels. And on the other side, you can kind of hear already, they are getting the whole side polished before ceramic coating. One thing I actually just discussed with Brandon earlier, if you guys look outside, it's raining. So if you guys know, if it's raining and you just got the car fully polished and ceramic coated, it's probably not the best ideal to drive out there. The good thing is I checked the weather, and it's probably gonna stop raining after 5 p.m. And I don't think I'm leaving here until probably 7 or 8. So I think I should be good going back home. But we will be talking about exactly what they're gonna be doing to making sure that it cures properly. They're gonna be using an infrared light that I'll show you later on. If you guys have watched the previous episodes, you guys have seen that too. And sometimes you can't really, well, one thing I will say about Brooklyn Grey is that it hides a lot of the swirl marks. From here, with this light, you can definitely see all the spiderweb kind of scratches and swirl marks. And I really think that's from going to the automatic car washes. I believe everybody in this shop working on the X7. I think it's because the timeline is coming down to the wire. So they're getting it all polished. They already finished the driver's side. They're getting the wheel wells cleaned up. The wheels are getting ceramic coated. And after that, we're gonna be ceramic coating it. We're also gonna figure out what ceramic coating they're using. I know in the past they've used 2 different types of ceramic coating. I'm not 100% familiar with it, so I'll have Brandon kind of explain it to you guys a little bit. But I do want to reiterate that the ceramic coated wheel right now is going through a curing process. And I may have mentioned it earlier, but this infrared light is going to help cure the ceramic coating onto the surface a lot quicker. And everything's pretty much timed. I believe it's about 8 minutes that they do. And they're going to do this entire car. So if your detailer is not doing this for your car or whatever, then you would want to kind of question the type of level of service you're doing. But also, is this a necessary step? No. But is this going to help me, or is this going to help the ceramic coating cure to the car a lot better? Yes. It's going to speed up the process, especially since I'm taking that almost hour and 40-minute drive, and you know, I may hit some rain going back up, so this will help that process. But I was telling Brandon, I haven't seen Brandon hold a polisher pad in a while. Yeah, it's a rare occasion. I usually see him cutting film, putting film down, but to see him getting down and dirty with his boys, All right, so Brandon, what are we using on the car?
So right now we are in the process of applying one of the Modesta ceramic coatings on the vehicle. So we've already gotten quite a bit done. So all the film's done on the vehicle already. We've already polished out and did a good correction on the car to kind of remove any swirls and imperfections to get it really cleaned up. So right now what we're doing to kind of preserve all the work that we've done on there is we're installing the Modesta BCO4, which is one of their glass coatings. BCO4 is their top tier coating, which is the same coating we've used on kind of some of your other cars. And this is a wet application coating. So it's gonna form a hard single glass layer over all the paint. We pulled the wheels, we did ceramic coating on the wheels and calipers, and then after that we just have to do the glass and some interior bits, and this car is pretty much coming to a wrap.
And this is like a coating that you kind of have to work in a team, because you have one person applying the coating, one person removing the first layer, and then you have a second person or a third person just basically making sure that all the coating is removed. And you said it was a wet coating, right? What is that?
So we can actually do this coating solo. It's just because we're trying to get the car wrapped up here, so it's a little more efficient to have a few people on here just to get the coating done. So this coating is different than a lot of other options on the market. The cool thing about Modesta BCO4 is that it's a hydrophilic coating. Now, the biggest thing everybody asks is, okay, what is hydrophilic versus hydrophobic? Hydrophobic is gonna be what most people look for in coatings, where it's gonna form nice, really tight beads on the surface. You spray down the car with water, and then the surface is gonna bead up and all the water kind of sits there, and it gives this kind of like really cool effect to it. Now, there's pros and cons to each kind of coating. hydrophobic, you know, what's going to happen is if you have an area with a lot of hard water, minerals like from, you know, wells,
sprinklers,
yep, things like that, right? Or, you know, if you're near trees, oak trees, stuff like that, when the water tends to beat up on the surface and be super hydrophobic, when the water evaporates or bakes in the sun, what happens is instead of it rolling off the surface, it's going to leave a lot of those minerals and, you know, they call it deposits left behind. And then that's why people get water etchings and things like that. So the water doesn't get a chance to kind of roll off, it just beads on the surface. So hydrophilic is different where, you know, we recommend it for a lot of outdoor cars or cars that are going to get a little bit more used and abused, because when the water typically hits the surface, it's not going to bead up as much. It'll still bead great, but it's going to have more sheeting effects. So when the water hits the surface, it's going to typically just run or roll off the surface more. So it's going to have less chance of like water spotting, and it's just a little bit of a different product, but we recommend it because our climate down here is brutal. You know, we have harsh UV, a lot of well water, calcium deposits, and you know, just with what Mother Nature can throw at it, you know, it's a little bit more durable for our market.
And also high humidity, you know, and I know on my G80 we did it with BCO5, and then when we redid the PPF we did BCO4.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice the difference, but I would have to look at it a little more carefully. But I'm excited to see this water sheet off this car. And again, I think one of the positives about having it sheet off is that you have less opportunities of those little water beads everywhere, because that could leave etching.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that, you know, like on your G80, the whole car was wrapped with paint protection film. So the water behavior is gonna be a little bit different. So, you know, even though the coating itself will give the same properties, you might notice a little bit of a difference between like the front, which has paint protection film, versus the rest of the car, which is, you know, gonna be exposed paint with the coating on top. So the water behavior is gonna be a little bit different, but for the most part, it's the same concept.
And then ceramic coating, this is actually a true glass ceramic coating. So it forms a thin layer of glass all over the car.
So where a lot of other brands, you know, depending on the type of coating, some are gonna be very high solvent based, which means that they have to apply multiple layers in order to build any sort of thickness or, you know, crazy hydrophobic properties. All of Modesta's coatings are based on kind of a one level system. So, you know, whether it's Modesta BCX, which is, you know, one of our other coatings that we have, a little more entry level, but works amazing. BCO4, even BCO6, which is a wheel coating, or any options like that, they're all designed to be, you know, applied in a single layer. So what's really unique about BCO4 is that in the bottle itself, which is a small little bottle, which the guys are using right now, but you know, we can show you some other samples in a little bit. The coating itself is liquid in the bottle, and it's going to be a little 30 milliliter bottle. Now, most people when they see the bottle, they're wondering like, how does that little bottle do the entire car? What's cool about it is that, you know, we portion it out panel by panel, and when it's applied by, you know, an applicator, it's going to leave a high thick build of, you know, like liquid glass on there, and then, you know, once it cures, it's going to, you know, leave a really hard durable layer on top, especially after we infrared cure it. So BCO4 is unique because we actually install it with a little bit of distilled water. So we have a bucket which has the bucket's somewhere around here, but
yeah, right back there.
Yeah, so you're gonna see they're dipping the coating in the bucket. So what happens is they're gonna take a little bit of distilled water, they're lightly misting the surface, so that way there's a little bit of water, you know, residue on the surface. Then they take the applicator, pour a little bit of product on there, and then they're basically applying it. Now, what they have in the bucket is basically a rag that's wrung out, so it's a little bit damp, and that distilled water's in there. So distilled water acts as a catalyst and basically reacts with BCO4 to, it's what they call like a heatless glass coating. So it's going to, you know, turn that into that really hard durable layer that we're looking for. So that's why you see they're applying it and they're wringing out, you know, a wet towel, and they're going back and using that to level off the coating. So we're leaving a lot of product behind, so it gets a really thick build behind it.
Okay, sounds good. And this coating's, it's rated for 5 years, right? But it could last longer.
Correct. So this is our 5-year coating. So this is kind of one of our top tier options that we have. So the biggest thing with any coating is, you know, maintenance. So as long as it's not an outside car that's absolutely neglected, just like with any other coating, you know, this will hold up really well with, you know, good routine maintenance or washing on a regular basis, and just doing, you know, proper prep and, you know, maintenance cleanings, you know, every now and then.
And it's brought the shine back incredibly, right? Brooklyn Grey has livened up a lot, especially with the polishing you guys did, and now with the ceramic coating going on top of it. In a little bit, we'll get you explaining the curing process, because we're going to talk about the infrared light, and I've explained a little bit here on the channel, but I'm sure a pro like Brandon is going to be able to explain a little bit more. right, so Brandon, your guys are just about wrapping up with the ceramic coating. One of the steps that you guys take is actually this massive light. So what is this?
So this is an infrared curing lamp. So basically what this product or this machine does is when the coating's basically done being applied, there's solvents and some other chemicals that are in the coating. And just like curing paint, the idea behind infrared curing is that it helps to kind of bake the solvents out, helps to speed up the curing process, and then allow the coating to form like a little bit more of a harder, durable layer. But by decreasing that curing time a little bit, allows us to be able to make sure that when the car is released to the elements, it's going to hold up a little bit better. But then also just to just make sure it's super durable.
Okay, so I'm glad you guys are taking this extra step because I got that hour and 45-minute drive back. And I may hit some rain, but this is also gonna help solidify that ceramic coating where it's not really gonna affect it.
Correct.
Because you technically need how many days?
Usually we say overnight, before the car is ready to go, but this is a little bit of a special case, and this is not an ideal scenario by any means. So we're gonna do everything we can in order to help speed up the curing process. Once that's done, we're gonna be applying kind of a Modesta sealant on top of the coating, which is basically like a slight protectant that it's gonna go on top just to give it a little bit more leniency during that curing phase of like the first week. And then, we're also doing the infrared curing lamp. So basically the way this lamp works is, we can apply once, like for instance, over the wheels, we have the wheel coating or on top of the paint. Basically we turn this lamp on, we have it set on a timer. And once you turn it on, you'll see here that it basically produces, like a special heat. So it allows it to, cure the panel that it's working on. So we'll move it around the car. We have a couple different lamps, so to speed up the curing process, and we can go anywhere between like 5 to 8 minutes a panel, and we have it set to a certain temperature range, so that way it's pretty safe to use on the car.
It looks like a tanning bed for a car.
Very similar.
Yeah.
So you see here, it's...
And you can feel the heat. Hopefully you guys can see the heat and you can feel the heat, but I'm feeling it now, and it's a little bit warm. You definitely don't want to be under here for too long, but I could definitely see why this would kind of get all the gases out from the ceramic coating. All right, Brandon, so your guys are just doing a little final touch up. In a little bit, they're gonna be applying the window coating. So what do you guys recommend? And I know you guys are probably gonna use some Modesta product, right?
Correct. So there's a few different coatings that we have for the car. We have options for exterior paint, wheels and calipers, leather interior surfaces, some plastics. But one of my favorite products that we have in the entire range is what we call our Modesta EGC. So this stands for exterior glass coating. So it's a really cool treatment because it's, imagine like a Rain-X but on steroids, so it lasts way longer. So we can apply it to the front windshield, the top panels on the car like the sunroof, all the side windows. Just depends on personal preference, but I recommend this on any car, whether it's a daily driver, a weekend toy, just because it makes a world of a difference. So nothing worse than, if you've noticed that your car might be a couple years old, you drive through a rainstorm and all that water's sitting on the front windshield and you get hit by a big rainstorm and that water sitting, it's not fun to deal with. You want visibility, you want to be able to have, clarity out of the glass, and this product, does a great job of just making all the water beat up right on the surface. So one of my favorite things about it is instead of having to run your wipers all the time, you'll see the water start to beat up on the surface and with speed just kind of starts rolling off. So pretty much I just, like on my personal truck, I use my wipers just to kind of clear the glass off every now and then and it works awesome.
And I could be attest to that because on my cars, we have the glass coating on the windshield and it helps so much more. It's more like a safety thing, right? Because when you're driving through a rainstorm on the highway, sometimes it gets really unbearable and you kind of have to rely on the wipers, but this is another layer that helps you where you can kind of minimize your wiper usage.
Correct, and like I said, there's nothing worse than driving around and having all that standing water sitting on your glass and you try to run your wipers a bunch of times or you're running them super fast trying to clear the surface and that water's just sitting there, right? And if you're in a really bad storm and it's already hard enough to see the car in front of you, the last thing you want to do is not be able to see out of your own window, right? So this product does a great job of making all the water kind of super hydrophobic and roll right off the glass. So like I said, it can be applied on any car. Whether you're doing coatings on the rest of the vehicle, film or anything like that, this is something we can apply to just about any vehicle. We can do it on cars. We also do this on a lot of marine projects, inside your house, shower glass, things like that. So it's got quite a few different uses, but products like this are amazing, and I think it's a really cool product to have in the industry.
definitely excited the way this car is coming out. And I was telling the guys here, this car looks brand new now. I know a lot of people say that when they get their cars done, but this car legitimately looks brand new. Between how well the interior was maintained and how the paint was rejuvenated between the polishing and also the ceramic coating. All right, Brandon, we are wrapping things up. It has been a long 2 days for myself and also your team. I know you've been here late night 2 days in a row, which is kind of like a common theme for you.
Not
Brandon, I guess give us an idea of how people can reach you, right? And also, what else are your final thoughts?
Well, easiest way to reach us, kind of like we mentioned before, we have a few different ways. One is either through our shop phone, which I can have Ken put up a link for that. Our website, which is www.hughesdetailing.com. The link will go up as well. On that top section of our website, you'll see a book appointment tab. Once you get a chance to look through our website, see all the services we offer, you're able to book a free consultation, so you can pretty much pick a day and a time that works for you. And if there's any special comments or concerns, feel free to fill it out there, or also to send us an email. You can pretty much write whatever you're looking to have done, and then either me or myself or one of my sales team can be able to kind of walk you through the process as far as what you're looking for, and see how we can give you a hand.
And then I guess final thoughts about the car, with the process.
It's been a long 2 days getting this car all wrapped up, between yesterday morning starting on the prep, getting the car all polished out, all the paint protection film installed, and then all the ceramic coatings on top. So it's been a long bit just trying to get this car done within the time frame that we have. But I mean, car looks awesome. We got everything done a little longer than we wanted to, but it's just kind of how it goes. So we got all the film done, even the dent done.
Correct.
Old tint, removed, and then installing all the new pieces. So, I mean, car looks awesome now. So it's a drastic turnaround versus how the car came in. Car already came in looking great. We just made it look a lot better.
The car looks brand new to me right now. So I'm excited to see what my wife thinks about it later on. And I know she's gonna be very happy with the new window film and stuff, because she wanted to go a little darker, and I think we did with some of the film. But between the protection that we're adding to the vehicle, and now this car is gonna be pretty solid for the next 7 years if we decide to keep the car that long. But I'm excited. You guys did a great job.
Yep. Like I said, car looks awesome. Thank you for the opportunity of being able to do another car, and glad to be a part of this project.
Yeah. So other than that, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. The team over at Brandon Hughes down here in Miami are the ones to reach out to and pick their brain, and also get services done, because again, they do an amazing job. They did my G80, my wife's X5, and then my wife's X7. So. Super excited with the service here, and I can't thank you guys more than enough to get me in last minute. I know you guys are really busy with all these gorgeous cars in the background. You got a car that's worth $600,000 there, a car worth $1 million up on the lift, which I didn't know about, and it's mind blowing.
So yeah, could always get a bunch of cool projects, but like I said, we work on pretty much any vehicle, so we're not partial to brand or model or anything like that. So we get to service lots of great clients, lots of people that come in with cool projects. And we're here to kind of make their day a little better. We want to turn the car that they're bringing in, protect in some sort of way, and make them happy with kind of what they're looking to have done.
So yeah, I want to thank you guys again for watching this video, and we'll see you guys on the next one.